its advertisers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, welcoming you to another edition of the show that we have every Wednesday from 8 to 10. It is a beautiful night here in Nevis, and I am delighted to be with you again. I was here last week, and I'm happy that I could be here with you this week again. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're listening, it must mean that you're tuned into the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis. 895 on your 860 on your AM dial. I'm showing my age. 860 on your AM dial or www.vonradio.com. This, of course, is a call-in show, and so usually I do a little what I call a soliloquy at the start, and then we open the phones and take your calls and your messages and see what's on your mind. A lot is happening, and so let's get down to it. I want to, first of all, continue to express condolences to the family of the man that we all knew as Crib, Mr. Levine, Euclid Crib Levine, and the Brown Hill Management Group, which has been doing some excellent work in Brown Hill. They've asked me to announce to the general public that they will have a memorial service for him on Tuesday, the 11th of September 2018 from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on the Hard Court in Brown Hill. They're asking one and all to join us as we say our final goodbye to Crib in a memorial service. He may be gone, but he will be forever in our hearts. So next Tuesday, from 5:30 to 7:30, the Brown Hill Management Group is inviting all of Brown Hill, indeed everybody, to come together to pay their respects to the man that we all knew and loved, the man Euclid Levine, better known to one and all as Crib. We hope that the family can make it, of course, and all of us hope to be there as well. We hope God gives us life and strength that we can be there to pay our last respects to someone whom we loved and someone who was a very important figure in Brown Hill and in Nevis generally. We gathered at the funeral service will be in New York, where he lived, and that funeral service will be on Saturday the 14th. And so we hope to have a memorial service here in Nevis for him, arranged by the Brown Hill Management Group on Tuesday, the 11th at 5:30 at the Brown Hill Hard Court. And so we expect one and all to come out. We invite one and all to come out and to be a part of it. There's quite a bit that's happening here on the island of Nevis. I'm proud to say that tomorrow we have the Parliament convening in St. Kitts, and I hope to clearly be a part of that. But here on the island of Nevis, we have so much that's happening. There are various projects in various stages of completion. The Brown Hill Road is coming along very nicely. I want to thank all of those who are involved with that project from the Public Works Department. I want to commend the Honourable Spencer Brand, who's a new minister, but who's really been performing exceptionally well. I want to thank him. The people of Stony Grove, Upper and Lower Stony Grove have brand new roads. The people in Jessops, the back road, have a new road there as well. The people in Brown Hill are benefiting now. We have the waterworks that continue. I see them now coming down Churchground Hill. And as always, we as a government believe in empowering our own people. And so we have been employing local heavy equipment, local truckers and the like, and ensuring that we spread as much as possible the capital expenditure across the length and breadth of the community so that each and every person here can benefit from it. So we have been working really hard. The Honourable Spencer Brand has been working really hard, and his team must be commended. They have excellent expertise there now in road construction. We've invested over the years in equipment and the like, and I think the people of Brown Hill seem to me to be quite happy. Those who are being negatively impacted, and the motoring public in Brown Hill is being negatively impacted at this time, I want to apologize to you. I've had some complaints from people who say they're getting dust in their homes. I also want to apologize to you, but to ask for your patience, bearing in mind that it is a construction process, and construction takes time. It can be sometimes a little noisy, a little dusty, and a little annoying. But we hope at the end of the day you'll have a quality road to drive on, just like the people of Braziers, just like the people of Hanley's Road, just like the people of Shaw's Road, and all around this beautiful island of ours. I like to say we're building Nevis brick by brick, and that's exactly what we're doing. And so I want to certainly continue to encourage our people to work hard, to do well, and to commend those, of course, who are working so hard to make things happen. Now, a lot, as I said, has been happening. I'm just going to my phone here because I wanted to draw to your attention that we have some excellent news that we just got today. And that excellent news is that a brand new airline, brand new to us that is, Sun Country, has today announced that it will be introducing flights directly from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let me get that right. It will be introducing direct flights, Sun Country, from Minneapolis to Bastia St. Kitts to RLB. And that is what is happening. They have put out a release. I'm going to get some details for you as my old phone here boots up. And so let's see. I have one of the old versions, so you'll forgive me. It takes a little while. But non-stop service has been announced from Minneapolis, Minnesota to Bastia St. Kitts, and that they have announced that they start the sales of this flight and it will commence this winter. They're very, very happy to announce this non-stop service that really and truly opens up a brand new market. The service will start on December 22nd and will run until April of next year. It, of course, is an introductory service. But, you know, sometimes we get flights, and this is the point that I've been making. Sometimes we get American adding a flight or Delta adding a flight, United coming and adding a flight as a case may be. People say, well, you know, those were always there. They're just increasing their capacity. But Sun Country is brand new to St. Kitts and Nevis. And they'll be coming every week on a Saturday. And they'll be coming from the 22nd of December, so just in time for Christmas this year. They're loading the flights. We'll be advertising, of course, and partnering with them. But what I want to emphasize tonight is that this, how it came about. I want to give tremendous credit to Greg Phillip, our CEO of the Nevis Tourism Authority. Greg brought this idea to the fore. He had met the folks. He had spoken to them. He believed in the idea. He brought it to me. I, in turn, took it to the Honorable Lindsey Grant as the Minister of Tourism in St. Kitts. And between Greg Phillip at the NTA, Raquel, who is in charge of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, and the minister over there, the Honorable Lindsey Grant, and myself. In fact, the Honorable Lindsey Grant and I met with the representatives of Sun Country at the Four Seasons Resort, and we were very impressed with what we heard. We looked at it, we evaluated it, and we then took it to the cabinet in St. Kitts. The cabinet of ministers there supported, and we were very, very happy that we are at this stage now. It shows a tremendous level of cooperation, a tremendous level of cohesion in what we're seeking to do as a country. And St. Kitts and Nevis both are working together. We will share the burden and we will share the benefit of this particular flight. And so I want to commend the Honorable Lindsey Grant for his hard work. He has transformed tourism in St. Kitts in a way that nobody else has ever done. It is truly, truly transformational what he has done in his own quiet style, without much fanfare. And he has done a wonderful job. And this now is an additional feather in his cap. We worked hard at it, and we have been able to deliver. And so come December, we expect that Sun Country is going to be flying directly from Minnesota to St. Kitts. And that opens up a whole new market in the United States, the Midwest, for St. Kitts and Nevis and our tourism. And so, as we like to say, to God be the glory. Great things he has done, great things he continues to do, and we trust and hope that this is a service that will succeed and that our people will support it, and clearly that the guests, our visitors, will take advantage of the service and to come. Prior to this, one had to hub through someplace else. One had to go to Chicago, one had to go to the Carolinas, perhaps. One had to go someplace else in order to get here from the Midwest. And so now we have a direct service. Get on in the morning in St. Kitts or Nevis in time to have lunch. And that is what we are trying to encourage. And so we look forward very much to partnering with this brand new carrier coming to St. Kitts and Nevis for the very first time, Sun Country out of Minnesota. So that has been, I think, excellent news for us. And I really commend all who have been involved, but special commendations again to Greg Phillip. They say you must give people their roses while they're alive and can smell them. And I know we are politicians, we like to take credit. And yes, Lindsey and I worked hard, but the idea and the push for this really came from Greg Phillip, our CEO at the Nevis Tourism Authority. And he and his team, they have been doing good work. And we welcome this initiative. I hope wherever he is tonight, he's hearing me, and that he understands that we appreciate the effort that he made. And nearly every day he called me to find out what was happening with this particular flight. And so we're making all the arrangements, putting things in order. But today we're proud that Sun Country loaded the flight and started sales and announced it commencing on the 22nd of December. So if you're in the Midwest somewhere and you want to come home, you want to visit, we're inviting you to come and experience St. Kitts and Nevis, as we like to say, 2 islands, 1 paradise. So I think that's wonderful news. Today, as we talk about other projects, we had the occasion to get updates, and I'm very proud that the pier at Wally that we've talked about for a long time is finally taking shape. As a matter of fact, today I'm told they were laying the slabs for the pier, and so it is going to be ready, we're told, in 6 weeks. That was the original construction period. We had a delay because, of course, we had some difficulties that we had to go back to the drawing board and sort out. But having sorted those out, we think the pier is going to be a wonderful addition to the infrastructure of Nevis, but also a wonderful addition to support the growing water taxi industry that has developed here on the island and transporting people back and forth between our 2 beautiful islands. And just so people abroad who may not have been home for a while, or visitors who have not been here for a while, or some who are thinking of visiting, the transportation links between St. Kitts and Nevis now have never been better. Truth is that you can be in St. Kitts, be over in 5 or 6 minutes, and vice versa. So people are going back and forth now. They're working in one island, living in the next. They're going over to party, for cricket, for carnival, for Culturama on this side, for music festival. We're having a grand concert here on the 16th of September, National Heroes Concert with Steel Pulse, Third World, on the same stage, one night. We have local acts, Ripper, HD. We have from Nevis as well, Delhi Ranks. We have the man they call Speedy. We have from St. Kitts, Dejour, who has been creating quite a stir. We have young Byron Messiah. We have a host of artists. We have DJ Woodis, who will provide some support. And we also have, of course, what is his name, Sugar Bowl, who will be the host of this particular show. A big show. We're expecting all the vendors to come out to make $1. And guess what? The show is free. It is our way of saying thank you to the people of Nevis and St. Kitts. It is our way of trying to bring our people together. As we say, one Nevis, one federation, one love. Bring people together in unity and bring people together so that we can celebrate together. We can, again, rekindle that love that we've always had for each other. But rekindle it, refresh it, if you will, and once again become our brother's keeper and our sister's helper. This is what we're seeking to do, and we're asking our people to do something special. Come through the gates for free, bring your best behavior, and please wear national colors. Let's really put 10,000 people at the Cultural Village come Sunday the 16th, starting at 9 p.m. Let us put 10,000 people here, and let us have our flags. Let us be dressed in our national colors. Let us show that oneness, that patriotism as we celebrate our national heroes. Let us also remember that Steel Pulse's original drummer was Stephen Grizzly Nisbet, who was born in Brickhill in the parish of St. James, and who left, we're told, at around 9 years old and moved to England. There he learned how to play drums, and he eventually met up with David Hines and the other guys from Steel Pulse and formed this band. And Steel Pulse at one point was, I believe, one of the biggest reggae bands in the world. Probably only Bob Marley and the Wailers was bigger than Steel Pulse. Huge reggae band. And so I think in a way younger people have been saying, oh, Steel Pulse. Come out and find that this is part of our history, because one of us, Grizzly, was the original drummer. He was a drummer for Steel Pulse from 1977 until 2001. And Grizzly passed away regrettably this year in January. And so the remaining band members of Steel Pulse have asked to do a tribute concert. And so part of this will be a tribute to Grizzly, our own division, original drummer for Steel Pulse. In fact, he was there for all of Steel Pulse's biggest hits. And we're grateful that Steel Pulse has come to do something. And we are going to honor Grizzly while Steel Pulse is here in a tangible way, in a small ceremony. So we are inviting one and all to come out. The boats are going to be running from St. Kitts. Admission is free. We're asking you to wear your colors. Wear your national colors, wear your flag, bring your flag. Let us create the atmosphere that we're looking for. Come with your best behavior, and let us consciously good music, conscious music. Have a wonderful night here in Nevis. I'm told all the Rastafarians are coming out. We welcome them. I'm told the Christians are coming out because, I mean, with songs like Chant a Psalm a Day, you really, really should have the Christian community come on out and being a part of this concert. Consciousness, trying to uplift our people, trying to ensure that our people are on the right path with the right thinking, the right focus, and chant a psalm a day. If only all of us could chant a psalm a day, we would have a better island and a better country. So we hope the Catholics and the Anglicans and the Methodists and the Seventh-day Adventists, that everybody comes out. It's 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. on Sunday, the 16th of September. It will give us, of course, the entire day for us to go to church and to engage in rest and prayer, and then to come out that night and enjoy some very conscious music. I got the very good news yesterday that we have charters coming from Anguilla, and people are coming in from Anguilla for the concert. We invite people from St. Martin. We invite you wherever you are. Come for the concert. Have a good time here with us. Monday is a public holiday here, the 18th, and so the 17th, I'm sorry. So you can certainly come enjoy the concert and enjoy the long weekend that we're going to have. So we are really and truly looking forward to seeing you and for you being a part of this really grand event. And this is just, again, another indication of one of the really good things that is happening here. We have our pier at Oali, we have our Brownhill construction of the road, we have other roads under construction, we have relief being provided to our people. I was able to account for the state of the economy, and it is not, of course, as robust as we would like, but it is growing. It is growing. Our economy is growing. Our job numbers are up. Our earnings are up in terms of revenue and tax revenue in particular. And I'm satisfied that we're moving in the right direction, and that is what I think we need to continue to do. At the Four Seasons, I'm told that the construction is going well, and of course they're doing some major works down there. The hotel has remained opened, and I learned just yesterday that some workers have suffered some cut in hours. It's a conversation that we hope to have with the hotel to find out how we can ameliorate some of the concerns that workers have. But certainly, as I said to one dear friend of mine who works there, that it is, however, an indication that the hotel is sticking to its word and its bargain that it will remain open, but also their way of holding on to their best staff. Yes, they're cutting the hours, but they're saying it's a temporary measure because, of course, by November, December, we hope to have the hotel fully functional, fully reopened in the context of the construction being completed and full to the brim and running over, because I know everybody is going to want to see how this new Four Seasons looks. I myself can't wait, because I see they're redoing the whole entrance, they're redoing the whole lobby area, restaurant areas and the like. So I think it's going to be a fabulous new hotel. The new owners have come in, and I'm told they invest in somewhere in the order of $40 million US. So significant investment in Nevis. So sometimes you hear people say nothing is happening, and that is a constant refrain. But I think that a lot is happening. We are making progress on a number of fronts. We're making progress in terms of our good governance agenda. We have passed integrity in public life. We've operationalized that legislation. We're now moving to the next stage of actually getting the commission that has been established to function, and we're going to do that, have our education seminars with our staff, the people who are affected by the legislation, and to go through it. We may have to refine it over time, but certainly this is the first good faith effort that we've seen by the previous administration, led by the Honorable Vance Amory, and this administration, that we have continued. I pledged during the campaign that elect us, and in 6 months of being elected, we will operationalize IPL and we will pass freedom of information. We have done both. To God be the glory. When you make pledges, you should honor them, and that is what we have sought to do as a government. We have introduced the monthly press conference for the Premier. Many have said they find it useful. They get an idea as to what is happening on the island. I open myself up to questions from the press, and I really want to commend the members of the press who come month after month, and they come armed with some very important questions, and I really commend them because, of course, a robust press is important in any democracy, and I hope that this can continue, this relationship that we have with the press, one of openness, one of a willingness to engage, and one a willingness to answer even sometimes difficult questions, but to answer them in a respectful way. And so we look forward certainly to that, but all of these little aspects, in fact, even what I'm doing here, I started this program a long time ago. Long before I entered politics, I started this program. This was an opportunity that was given to me by Weber Herbert, the manager here. I've always commended him and thanked him for the opportunity. First on part of the heavyweights, and after, I suppose, the others got heavier than me, they told me to go and go to the welterweight category. So I came to the show and we started on the mark. But when I got elected initially and then later became Premier of Nevis, there were many who said to me, you know, you really should not open yourself up to this kind of thing. And I said, well, that is odd, because if you say that you're serving people, then you ought to be willing to face those whom you're serving, even those who are sometimes disgruntled, those who are sometimes unhappy. And let us be frank and fair. You can't please everybody all the time. You can only continue to do your best. And I trust that when this is all over and this journey has ended for me, that people will say of me that I tried my best. I don't need any other accolade but that I tried my best. And I did so conscientiously, I did so honestly, and I did so with the love of people that inspires those of us in public service. So, as I said, a lot happening, a tremendous amount is going on in terms of the island. I wanted to say something since last week when I was here. In fact, I want to say two things. Every year for the past 3 years, I have from my resources sought to give back to my constituents. And what better way than to invest in our children? And so I started this Believe in Yourself with the emphasis on B-E, B, and Y-O-U-U. And so the idea is that our children should believe in themselves and be themselves. And so we developed a logo and all of that. And the idea is to inspire our youngsters to be all that they can be, and certainly to believe in themselves and to be themselves. They don't need to be anybody else. They don't need to be like anybody else. There is beauty in all of us. There's wisdom and capacity in all of us. And we want our people to be self-confident and to grow in that vein. And so for the last 3 years, I have provided a backpack for every single primary school student going to the schools, both public and private, in my constituency, Nevis 9. That is the good people of St. John's and St. Paul's. I have promised each year that if I had the resources, I would expand it. I have not been able to do so, in part because what happens was the first year, the quality of the bags, we were told, was not as good as we would have liked. And so the following year, we spent more money to get the same number of bags, but a better quality. And this year, we have spent even more money. In fact, we're spending nearly double what we normally spend to again get a better quality. And the teachers, the principals, they seem quite pleased, and I'm quite pleased that you know, I'm able to do that from my own resources. And I want to emphasize that this is not taxpayer money. This is from my own resources. But one of the things that I wanted to comment on is the number of children that have called me. In fact, a young boy called me just today, and prior to that, a young lady sent me a message. A young school child sent me a message saying, just thank you. And it really warmed my heart, because clearly their parents had facilitated them in making the calls. But the fact that it was important enough for them to call to say thank you, I thought it meant the world. And it really warms my heart when that happens. And I want to commend those children and those parents. For the others out there who I may not have heard from, that's okay too. I just want you to use your knapsack, to be proud of yourselves, and to know that once I'm able each year, I intend to expand and to continue this effort that I am making and have made. So I really feel good about that. And the second thing that I wanted to say is an incident that happened to me. You all know that every Juve morning, you can find me in the long jam. I get all kinds of accusations. People tell me I come in the jam late, I take the short version of the jam. Long jam is long jam. Whether you start in Gingerland or you start by Rams, a long jam is long jam. If you're in the band, then you're in the long jam band. This is where it goes. So I don't understand the debate that people tend to have. People accuse me, say I take water and throw it over myself so I look like I'm sweating. I really don't engage in all the naysayers and naysaying. I'm in the long jam and I'm doing my thing. People know I can't dance. I always say that. But something about long jam and something about the music and core coming down the hill used to be, of course, my good friends Denrick and the guys, the Casanova band. But it's Core now. Core run things on the road coming from Gingerland for Long Jam. And so we're in the jam. Speedy is talking about taking a piece of the road. I had to be there to protect the investment that we're making in the road infrastructure on the island as the Premier and the Minister of Finance, because I'm really concerned that they were going to dig up the road. But I'm in the Long Jam, enjoying myself. I have my flask in my hand, and I'm really enjoying myself in the Long Jam. And I had forgotten that when I left home, I took some cash. It maybe was about $200 or something like that. But I had some cash, and I had it in my pocket. And I'm enjoying myself. And a young man comes up to me and he says, Mr. Brantley, now this is thousands of people in this jam, huh? And a young man comes up to me and he said, Mr. Brantley, this cash fell out of your pocket. And he gave me the cash in my hand. And I felt overwhelmed by it. You know why? We are quick to condemn each other. We're quick to say how bad people are and how bad things are in our island. Some of us, it seems, are only happy when we have some bad news to report about this land that we claim to love. And that little act said so much to me about what and who Nevisians really are. You hear what I tell you? Thousands of people on the road, revelers, and somebody found 10, 20 US dollar bills together, cash, and said he saw when it fell from my pocket and he brought it to me. And I tell you, it meant the world to me. And it just really warmed my heart. And I hope he's not offended, but if anybody knows a young man they call Quarter, who works about the hospital, it was Quarter who did that. And Quarter, I hope by referring to you and revealing you that you're not offended and not upset with me. But it really meant a lot to me. And I said one night when I'm on this show, I'm going to say it publicly because I know the show is widely listened to say that we have good people here in Nevis. In fact, the vast majority of our people are good, decent people. And that little act of honesty, integrity, and kindness by Quarter said to me that we in Nevis, all is far from lost. That we just have to continue to insist on doing the best that we can, being the best that we can, encouraging the best out of each of us. Will we fail from time to time? Absolutely. People talk about crime and they try to say, oh, the government this and the government that. And I have always said, when I was in opposition and now in government, the buck stops with the government. Can't run from that. And I'm sitting in the hot seat as the Premier of Nevis. The buck must stop with me and with my cabinet and with my ministers. It has to stop with the government. But at the end of the day, crime will occur because we're imperfect people. I have said, and I hope I don't offend the brethren and the sisters in the church when I say so, but even in the Garden of Eden we had crime. First murder was when Cain killed Abel. If my Sunday school memories are still with me. And so even those people who are perfect and closer to perfection than we are, closer to perfection than we are, there was jealousy, rage, human emotion that lends itself to criminal behavior. And so I don't think that any society will ever rid itself entirely of crime, so long as we have human beings and we have the frailties of the human condition. But we must collectively do our best to bring out the best in us at all times. And so yes, there may be occasions when we fail, but our failures should not define us. Our failures do not define us as a people. Our failures are merely opportunities for us to learn from our mistakes and to move on to success and to higher heights. And I just wanted to highlight this one act of integrity by this young man in a sea of revelers for Juve morning to demonstrate that we have good, decent people in this island, and that represents the majority of our people here. Court, I want to thank you for your kindness and your integrity, and I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to use that to say tonight to our people that that is what we ought to do. So thank you, wherever you are, Court, if you're listening. I hope you're having a good night. God bless you. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your show of honesty and integrity. And thank you for my $200 US, because I went down the road and I was able to buy something with it. So I'm grateful for that. But clearly, I would have reached to the end of the long jam and would have said, boy, I had some money in my pocket, it's gone. But here was somebody who saw the money fall to the ground, picked it up and said, Mr. Brantley, your money fell from your pocket. And that, I think, is exceptional. And these are the things that I believe we should seek to highlight about our people and about our country, because that is the ethos that we should encourage. And so I really want to say thank you for that. The big news, of course, that occurred just last week, Friday, was the swearing in of our new Deputy Governor General, Mrs. Hailita Miranda Liburd of Brown Hill, where she has lived for many, many years with her husband, Mr. Elmo Liburd. I want to say tonight, yet again, how proud I am of Mrs. Liburd. And it sounds strange that I am saying I'm proud of Mrs. Liburd, because Mrs. Liburd, of course, is much older than I am, a mature woman, somebody I grew up knowing as a mature person. But she said something so profound when she was being sworn in. In her speech, her response to the various accolades that were being accorded to her. And she said that a young person asked her how it is that she got to this point where she was being selected and asked to act in this important capacity. And her response was, people are watching you. So just do your best. People are watching you. You may feel that you're walking to school, or you're walking in Charlestown, or you're at the supermarket. People are watching you. People are looking on. And when these types of positions, they're not applied for, they are offered to someone, it has to be that that person has lived a life that others can look on and say that that is a life that has been well lived. An unblemished life. A life where good character, strength of character has been the hallmark. And I think in Mrs. Hailita Liburd we have such a person. And you know what warms my heart? On the 1st of August, I spoke with the Honorable Joseph Parry, and I later wrote formally to him, because while I had no constitutional duty to do so, I felt in the interests of good governance and openness that I have espoused, that I ought to involve the opposition. And so I spoke first and then wrote formally to Mr. Parry, the lone member of the opposition in the Parliament of Nevis, to advise him of the choice. And his own words warmed my heart, because clearly he thought it was a good choice. And as I go around the island and as I saw the response on social media and elsewhere, I think that the people of Nevis generally, wherever they fell along the political lines, they all thought. And that is exactly what we need in a persona, a person who embodies the best in all of us. Somebody who, whether you're NRP, CCM, or no party at all. I'm told there's a new party now called, I can't remember, NDM, NDP. NDM? Why, I can't, too much letters. It look like it's XYZ. Whatever the new party is called, whether you belong to that one, the NRP, the CCM, I think all of us with one voice, with one accord, can say that Mrs. Hailita Liburd is a good choice. And I think she'll do well, because she has a life of work that we can look at. She would have taught and been in education for 39 years, ending her career as Principal Education Officer for the island of Nevis. She has equipped herself. She's involved in schools, she's involved in the church, she's involved in the community. And she has the humility, the kindness of spirit, the aura. Someone you can trust, someone you can confide in, someone that you can have confidence in, someone that can inspire us all. And I'm very grateful to her, I well recall when I first approached her, she was visibly shaken. But she came around. Eventually, she said yes, and I'm delighted that on Friday last, in the presence of the Governor General, His Excellency Tapley Seaton, in the presence of our dear Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, and of course, in the presence of all of the members of the cabinet and the scores of well-wishers. I mean, Charlestown was awash with people. All of them wanted a picture. They wanted to say hello. It really demonstrates the outpouring of love and support for someone who has lived a good life and someone who has lived a life knowing that people are watching. And so to me, the lesson is simple. Whether you're a janitor or a doctor, a politician or a lawyer, a mason or fisherman, whatever your calling may be, may you live your life and conduct your calling in such a way that all of us can say with one accord, he or she is a good person. And that is what we have. And I think we've made a good choice. I want to commend Mrs. Hailita Liburd yet again. I'm sorry, Her Honor, Hailita Liburd, our Deputy Governor General. I want to wish her long life and God's continued blessings. I don't know for my part how long I will be with this thing called politics, because it is taxing. I think people who knew me told me at one point I used to have a youthful exuberance. I used to look youthful. Now I'm gray. Gray in beard, gray in hair. Looks like even my eyebrows look like they want to turn gray soon. That is sometimes the pressure. And I think a lot of times people don't understand how difficult it is when you have just these resources, but the demands are many. The water in politics always more than the flow. It is always, always, always difficult to get to where you want to get to. And you always have to ask for people's patience and understanding. And our people sometimes are neither patient nor understanding. So we appreciate the difficulties. So I'm saying I don't know how long I will be with this, but I'm grateful so far that I'm here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve. And I'm even more grateful that I could choose people like Mrs. Liburd to serve in such a high office and high capacity, who can inspire a nation regardless of who the political parties may be, in office or out of office at any particular time. These are the people who ultimately become the symbols in the country to inspire us all. And so we look forward to independence. I will, as Premier, be taking my first salute, and the Honorable, Her Honor, the Deputy Governor General, will be taking her first salute as well in the context of independence. We would have had, of course, and she took the day, so I thought it was a nice touch at the swearing in, but we will do so hopefully at the park where we would normally celebrate our independence on the 19th of September. 35 years, a grand ceremony indeed. So ladies and gentlemen, a lot has been happening, a lot is going on, but I have been talking to you for a little while. It is 20 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. Of course, we're only here until 10. We know some callers tend to call a bit late because they want to, I suppose, get in their 2 cents, but I tend to tell them call early and you can get in 4 cents instead of 2, so you can call. Before I open the lines, however, as I always do, let me say goodnight to friends and family, wherever they are, particularly those in the Caribbean here, those in St. Martin, Anguilla, Puerto Rico, those in the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, people like Roach and Shark, my very dear friends in the USVI, my family in St. Croix and places such as those, Zanki, my good buddy in BVI. I want to say good evening to all of you, to all my friends and family in St. Martin, all the friends of Nevis who tune in religiously to the show, our friends and family in places like Station, Sabre. We want to say good night to all of you. We also want to say good night to those in the United States. They would have celebrated their Labor Day on Monday at a grand time, I'm told, in Eastern Parkway. Good night, good evening to all of you. And of course, how could I forget Ursula in Atlanta, in Georgia, not in Atlanta, but in Georgia. I want to say good evening to you. I know that you're still suffering from the loss of your mom, but we continue to pray for you. My dear sweetheart, Mems, wherever you are, Mem look like she gone on a world tour. I don't even know if she have radio wherever she is, because it looked to me like maybe she gone to Mars or even Pluto. But I want to say, Mems, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. And good evening to one and all. We look forward to a good show tonight. I'm going to open the lines and hear what the people have to say. Let's go. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Michelle.
Good evening, my dear. How are you?
And good evening, my premier. I'm good.
Yes.
Sympathy is going out to Ernie France at PDC and his sister Tovia France in Mount Lily on the passing of their mom, Sarita France. Isaiah 14, verse 5 and 6. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the ruler. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nation in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Get well is going out to my loving cousin in Canada and his nephew. May God continue to bless him. Thanks very much for what you have done for the kids. Honor Governor General Mrs. Hailita Liburd, your speech was great and greater. Big up from QT. Good night.
Thank you very much, QT. Thank you for that. And, you know, I always can count on you to remind me of my mishaps, because I would have spoken to both Ernie and Tuvia, and I regret that tonight I ought to have said at the top of the show that I extend condolences to them on the loss of their mom. In fact, Tuvia also lost a very close family member in Stacia, who she said practically raised her. And so she's had a double whammy of sorts. That member in Stacia, I think, lived to be over 100 years old. And so I want to extend deep condolences to the family in Stacia, the family, of course, of Tuvia and Ernie, you know, for their loss. It's never an easy thing, regardless of one's age, to lose one's parents. And I'm sure that they're grieving wherever they are tonight, and I would want to join you call and extending my deepest condolences to them, and to let them know that our prayers and the prayers of the multitude continue to be with them, and we hope will comfort them in their hour of bereavement. One thing I've learned, having lost both of my parents and having had to endure that, is that it does get a little better with time. Over time, you do start to feel again that you can smile. Over time, it gets a bit better. It's never the same, but it gets a bit better. And so I want to join you in extending condolences to her, to the family. While I have the microphone and I hear the phones are going, but I also regret that at the top of the show, before I even said good night, I should have said happy birthday to Rodney Elliott. And Rodney has a big birthday today. I'm told she is finally 21 years old, finally legal. She can finally do a lot of things that she could not do before. And I want to wish her a happy birthday. All day today I was supposed to call her, but as it turned out, we had a long day with cabinet and the like. But Rodney, you have been in my heart all day. I want to say happy birthday to you. I trust you had a wonderful day, and I trust that all that was sent to you, that you received and that you enjoyed. Since I'm on the mic again, I also want to extend birthday greetings to my darling, sweet daughter. I hope my wife isn't listening. I don't get into any trouble. But, you know, I love this lady. Pretty. Right up there in church ground. She's celebrating tomorrow. And Cindy, her daughter, who is celebrating with her. Imagine mother and daughter have the same birthday. It's an interesting thing. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. They were born on the same day, many years apart. But Cindy and Pretty. So I hope they have a wonderful birthday, and I want to say happy birthday to you on behalf of the whole Churchground family. I feel like I'm part of the family. So on behalf of the whole Churchground family, tomorrow when it comes, happy birthday to you. Let's go back to the phones now and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Hello?
Good night.
Hi, you're on the mark. Go ahead.
Yes, good night, Honorable Brantley.
Good night to you.
I was so glad to see you.
Yes, I was happy to see you as well.
And I was glad to, I was glad to hear you speaking about cleaning up of Charlestown, because we want some of that down here. Not about vendors alone. The town is very dirty, land and drain, especially on the Bay Road. People might say why I am saying that to you. You is the Nevis. Every talk show is saying about that. And the government meet the officers there and cleaners. It's not their government. They're not going around to see what the cleaners are doing, but they get more than them that put them there. Tell the vendors already, but maybe they're waiting on you. Mr. Brantley, land in the heart of town on the Bay Road by a supermarket. You would not like to see it. Tourists walk there and in all the avenues, especially in McKnight. I am asking you, please, when you go to cabinet, please to let Ms. Phipps know what the callers are saying about cleaning up of the town. If who get in pay don't want to do it, get some temporary workers. Our town was not looking like that. We pay our bills as tax. We must be in clean environment. The officer's boss wants you to be prime minister. He only talking. Neither he nor them will do as they like. The lips of the righteous know what acceptable, but of the wicked speak forwardness. The name of the Lord is strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. Please, please, for us, or for my sake. Thank you. Have a good night. Drive safely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. And yes, cleanliness is next to godliness, and I think we need to do more, all of us. I took a walk just this afternoon, and in some areas where they have guts, people are throwing stoves, microwaves, and our people really need to be responsible. But we as a government, believe me, I intend to act, and this government intends to act. And I hope that when people get the kinds of fines that we hope to impose, that we won't have the wailing and gnashing of teeth, because people must do what is right. That is just simple. How could you feel justified taking a fridge or a stove and throwing it on the side of the road? How in God's name, when did we get like that? That you take it and dump it in a gut. You take your garbage, you just throw your garbage out the window. I mean, when did we get like that? And we all need to condemn it. And when people see it, they should name and shame people. Truckers, some of them get paid to take up garbage from somebody's residence or somebody's business place to take to the dump. You know what they do? They dump it on the way. So a lot of our people are culpable. A lot of our people are culpable. And if Nevis and St. Kitts are going to be what we want them to be, our people must be responsible. They must be responsible. I know people don't like to hear it because nobody wants to be responsible. They want to do what they want, but when they boot up, as we say colloquially, then they start to call. They call me at my house 2 o'clock in the morning, Lord, I just boot up. They call whoever else, Lord, I boot up. But be responsible. And I'm going to preach it. And somebody told me the other day, don't talk about these things. People going to vex with you. Well, so be it. Be responsible. If you have $100 in your pocket and you know you have your picnic to feed, do not take the money go buy no hair to put on your head. Do not take the money to buy no nails to put on your finger. Feed your picnic first. Make sure they're okay. Make sure they can go to school. If you have $100 in your pocket, do not take it and go down by the bar to buy what you're not supposed to be buying. Feed your children. Take care of your bills. How it is you could be wearing the best and you're not paying NEVLEC. You're not paying your water bill until NEVLEC cut you off and your water bill cut you off. People don't like to hear these things. But a lot of times, and I said so in the house the other day, it is not for need. It's not that we need. It's because we are not responsible with what we have. Yes, there are people who are struggling. I am not going to seek to deny that. A lot of people are struggling. But I want our people to be responsible. And a lot of times, if you can't afford the thing by TDC or courts, leave it there until you can afford it. You have a 20-inch television at home, and your neighbor buy a 60-inch, and you start to feel that your TV too small, you can't see Patriots cricket as big as the neighbor could see it, so you go down and you tell courts you want a 60-inch like your neighbor. But guess what? Your pocket and your neighbor's pocket may not be the same. So our people must be responsible, and I keep preaching it. Because too many of us want to dress up, we want to whatever, and we're not taking care of basics. And then we're leaving the basics undone. And then we go around now and we're telling people, oh Lord, 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 I boot up. Take care of what you need to take care of and be responsible. Sometimes it is best to wait and exercise patience and do something when you're able to do it. So responsibilities all around, and those who are littering indiscriminately. If you refuse to be responsible, then the government will have to hold you responsible. And I hope, because I continue to ask people, I continue to beseech. I'm going to share something tonight. When I got into office, and this new government took office, we call upon the public servants to be responsible. That's the word I keep using. We call upon them not to abuse the government vehicles, to have them out on the road at all hours of day and night and on the weekends frolicking and doing all manner of things with the government vehicles. We said, listen, unless you need to, unless you have authorization from the supervisor, park up these vehicles. Well, it looked like what I said went in one year and come out the next. But I like to drive around Nevis. And every time I drive and I see vehicles at night or out, I'm taking down the number, I'm taking the time, I'm taking the date, and I'm taking the location. And I have a list long so already. And I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. I'm saying it publicly, because it seems to me that when you talk and you talk, people say, oh, no study he, no study she. Right? I am asking our people to be responsible. How in good God's name we could have the government vehicles out at all hour and day and night? They hit a donkey. You and I as the taxpayers have to go and find the money to fix it. Be responsible. We have public servants who waltz into work 8:30, 9 o'clock, any hour they want to waltz in. And they feel nobody could tell me nothing because that is the way it is done. Either I support CCM in power so they can't do me nothing, or I support NRP so I mean okay. I'm saying to all of our people, be responsible. Do not think that you're walking in late and it's not being noticed. Be responsible. Do what you're supposed to do. Act in a way that you're supposed to act. Set a good example. And if we all can try to do that and be that. Remember what the Deputy Gigi said? People are watching. People are watching. So let us try to set the right example. When I spoke about the social media use on government time and implored, in fact, we developed a social media policy. And we asked people simply, listen, when you're working, focus on your work. Don't be on the government computer ordering no clothes from Misguided. Yeah, all the young people, they think I don't know where you order clothes from. Misguided. Don't be ordering clothes from You hear the thing named Misguided. Do not be misguided and go on the computer system, go order clothes when you're supposed to be working. Don't go to what they call it, something Nova, Fashion Nova. Yes, I know all the sites that you all go to. Do not be doing that, because at the end of the day, the public needs to be served. So let us focus on serving the public, and you go on Misguided and Fashion Nova when you get home in the evenings. I am not asking you to do anything beyond what you're supposed to do. I'm not asking you even to go on any extra mile. I'm asking you just to walk the mile that you're being paid to walk. So if you know that work starts at 8 o'clock, why are you strolling in with your bag over your shoulder at 8:45? Well, what happened? You have special hours? Come to work on time. And stop treating the job as if it doesn't matter. Because oftentimes, if the job is lost to you, you know the trouble that you will be in terms of being able to sustain yourself. So treat it with some respect. And what I continue to regret is a lot of people who work for government feel they must function in one way. But then they work in the private sector and they can't do that. They can't waltz into TVC or Four Seasons anytime they like, but they figure they must do it in government. And I'm saying, please, work with us and let us work with each other. This is a partnership. You respect us and what you do in terms of us in government. We respect you. We try to work together, help each other, and ultimately benefit the island of Nevis. You hear what we are called? Public servants. That means we serve the public. Let us do so. Let us work hard together. And let us be responsible. That's my word going forward. Responsible. Let's go back to the phones. It's 5 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Brandt. Good evening, Mr. Brantley. How are you?
Yes, good evening to you. I'm well, thank you.
Okay. That little boy asked Mrs. Liebert $1 million question.
Yes.
And that lady, Mrs. Liebert, has answered a $10,000 question. Now, the little boy was brave. He asked a question out of the world, and he gets an answer that is so well deserved. Thank you, Mrs. Liebert. You were being looked at. All right?
Yes, brother.
All right, man.
All right. Yes, man. Thanks for the call. Thanks. How are things?
Hey, he's all right, you know. He's warm a couple of days up here now, man. I never sweat so much, in my life in America.
Are you hotter than Nevis?
Yes, man, he is.
All right, brother. Take good care.
Yes, man.
Okay, God bless. Let's stick with the phones. Good evening. You're on the... Okay, we lost that caller. We have anybody else? Okay. Callers, the numbers to call. I didn't even say it. Wait, 4 people started calling. 869-469-1616. 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show. Again, if you're listening, it must mean that you're tuned into the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis, www.vonradio.com or 860 in your AM dial. As we say here, only the best will do. This is Mark Brantley, host of On the Mark, straight talk across the Narrows. And every Wednesday we're here from 8 to 10, having a conversation with you and trying to educate and inform each other. All shades of public opinion are welcomed on the show. The only thing that's not welcome is disrespect and discourtesy. You won't get it from me, and please, don't try to give it either. So we have a discourse even when we disagree. Let us not be disagreeable. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Honorable.
Good evening to you. Hello?
1 minute, please. True leaders always practice the 3 R's. Respect for self, respect for others, responsible for all their actions. I repeat, true leaders always practice the 3 R's. Respect for self, respect for others, responsibility for all their actions. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. And I was talking about responsible and responsibility, and you've come now with a perfect quote. True leaders, respect for self, respect for others, responsibility for your actions. That's always important. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good evening, Andy Mark.
How are you, my dear?
Yes, we have a girl named Jacinth, right? From Nevis. She said she walked to you and she want to walk.
She vote and she want to walk. Why she send you? You're she liar?
Jacinth.
You're she liar, no? Why she send you? I asked if you're she liar. Why she send you go talk for?
Really, but she always done by you at the walk.
Ah.
And she want to walk because she used to clean the road and they take it away from her and give some kind of man. And this crime thing need to stop because some of us as parents, we support our children with wrong things, and then when we're done, and we hear the police them say that we have to bring them in, we cannot rule them. We cannot rule the children then. And if I know that with the law, I will sell one the high man must be come in, a minister to come in from in the house to get sued to fight. She told me that yesterday. Yes, you want a walk.
Okay, I hear you, I hear you.
I mean, she has a color to everybody.
Yeah, I know you mean. Okay, I know you mean.
And if I know that I have my children and I can't control them, and they lack control them, I don't know why people supposed to say all these things. But if they know that the police wanted them, they're supposed to go and give up themselves instead of them have to die because they know they do wrong.
Well,
so we ask parents please to cover our children when they are wrong. And when they are right, we tell them they are right. Not wrong make right. And you have a blessed evening, you and Troy. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you so much. And as we say, you talk with all, because a big part of the problem we have is the parents. The parents are they break the rules. They want the children to break the rules. They defend the children in wrongdoing. And then as that deteriorates, they end up with the situation that we have, crime and insecurity, because these children were never shown the right way. Parents will go to school, they cuss the teacher. They abuse the principal. They want to go up and fight. Will the children see all this? What kind of child do you think you're going to raise? And that's why I go back. People must be responsible. If you're man and woman enough to do what people do to make children, then you must be responsible for them. If you're a man, you must be responsible for supporting them, make sure that they have shoes and socks and school bag and uniform to go to school, that you support your children, but not only the financial support, you must support them emotionally. You must be there for them. If you're the mother, you can't expect to go out and do what people do to make children. Get the children and they want to leave them home when they're 5 and 6 because you want to go party. You want to go lime. And when you start have picnic, you give that up. That is the nature of things. And so make these decisions. A lot of people look to me like them want to have a child because they think it's like when you get a puppy or a kitten. A child is a lifetime commitment. A child is a lifetime commitment. It is the biggest decision that most of us will ever make in our life. So if you just want to go and go have fun, and then you end up with 2, 3, 4, 5, I am saying that that is not the way. That is not a responsible person. Be responsible. If you know that you want to go party and you want to go and go in the band and do all that you need to do, you can't left 2 and 3 children, 2, 3, 5 years old home by themselves. You have to be responsible. And if you know you're not ready for it, leave it alone until you're ready. It's not a race, you know. You have time. See, sometimes people 17, 18, 19, like they can't wait. They get one, it's so sweet, then they're going back for 2 and 3. You have time. Tell yourself that you'll put some things in place. You'll get an education. You'll get a proper job. And then when you're in a position to, you think about children, because it is such a monumental decision. It is not a puppy or a kitten. Oh Lord, my child so cute. You know, see, and she Nike sneakers, she looks so nice. No. Not so you go, you know. It's a lifetime commitment. I have 2 children right now, 21 and 18. And when you see the school call for fees, that is why my eyebrows are now getting gray now. Lifetime commitment. And I feel sometimes people, maybe they're enjoying themselves, they focus on the fun. You know something, when you have fun sometimes, you know, what they say was sweet in the goat mouth, sour in the bam bam. Sometimes too much fun is not good. So relax yourself, use your head. When you're ready to do things, then you do them. When you're ready to do things, then you do them. Then you're mature and you've made up in your mind that this is the road down which you want to go. Word to the wise, as my good head teacher, Teacher Ivor, used to say, a word to the wise is enough. Let's go to the phones, take some calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you.
Mr. Brantley, I want to offer my congratulations to Her Honor, Hailita Liebert, on her swearing in to be the Deputy Governor General for Nevis. And I would agree with all who have said it's a good choice and all the qualities that would qualify her for that. I've known her all my life. As a matter of fact, she's my godmother. And
you have a good godmother.
Yeah, man. I was very proud of her. Well, I've always been proud of her, but especially on Friday morning, I had to be there to support her. Okay, Mr. Brantley, you as a leader, I admire. You and I don't always see eye to eye. I don't know if you have truly forgiven me from our clash from way back in the 90s when I worked for you, but I've put that behind me, and I have supported you all along because I like your leadership style. I like the way you handle yourself. I like the way the direction you're taking Nevis in. I have an issue, Mr. Brantley. I'm a trucker. I've been doing this for the past 18 years. I pay attention to what's going on with trucking here on the island of Nevis. I know we as truckers get a lot of blows that we deserve because of the way we behave sometimes. And a lot of times I would say to truckers, let's just go the easier way. A lot of the things they do cause people to be against them at all times. They don't realize that a lot of the backlash that they get is from things that they do. Okay. There is an issue going on with a young man called Julian Libert, affectionately known as Toba. Whatever the issue is, I've been monitoring this for 15 months. Mr. Brantley, I do not know. I'm not here to apportion blame. What I'm here to say is that I've been observing the impasse for the past 15 months. The young man has been banned from the government quarry. I've heard you mention that there's a young Spanish guy that came here, and you were so proud of the young man. He came here, he can't speak a lick of English, but in less than no time, he has a job. Another few days past, he has 2 jobs. He has 3 jobs. And you were impressed by that. Converse to that is Julian Libert, who is a man that applies himself, goes to the quarry and he works. And it seems as if people have a problem with it. I am not dealing with that issue, that part of it. What I'm dealing with is that he's been banned from the quarry, and that to me is a judgment. And he's been handed a judgment, and to this day he hasn't had a hearing. I believe that before the decision was made to ban him from the quarry and to not have him work, somebody should have called him to a meeting, level whatever charges you level against him, and then give him a chance to answer for himself. He hasn't had that chance. He has been begging for a meeting for months. I as a friend, have been trying to persuade him. Go and sit down in an office with people concerned. And he has been trying. But Mr. Brantley, I know he has been trying to get a meeting with you. I know you're a busy man. He's been trying to get a meeting with the Minister Alexis Jeffers. I know you're busy people. But for a young man trying to make a living, he has a family to feed. He has commitments to the bank. I think that somebody should reach deep into their heart, tenderness of their heart. Grant the man a meeting, let him know what's going on. He's been banned from the quarry for 15 months, and he just got a letter saying that he's been banned from the quarry like 4 months ago. It was not. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to apportion blame. I'm just saying that he deserves a hearing, and I'm here requesting of you, Mr. Brantley, in public, requesting of you to take 10, 15, 20 minutes of your valuable time, grant us a meeting, and let's sit down as decent people. We're all Nivisions. Let's sit down, have a conversation, and let's see what each other are thinking.
Okay.
I'm privy to other information that I'm not about to disclose here. Mm-hmm. Let's sit in a meeting and see if people can search their heart and see if we can do something about the situation, because it's not nice.
Okay, well, caller, I have allowed you a free rein to speak.
Yeah.
These are not matters that I tend to get into in public, because these are private matters. But
I'm not asking for
what I will say to you is I do not know what information, the level of update that you have. I'm well aware of the situation. I do not know why anybody would say they haven't been able to get a meeting with me. I'm not sure what that means, because I correspond via WhatsApp, I have spoken on the phone, and I have met in person. And I'm aware of the situation, very much aware of the situation. And I believe that I have already conveyed to the individual involved what the position is and what it is I am doing to resolve the situation. So I do not know whether you're speaking on the basis of information that is perhaps a bit dated or whether or not you have an updated position. But it would be, in my view, unfair to say that we have not been willing to listen. As I say, every story has two sides and sometimes three, right? So the reality is that much of what you say is correct, that this has been, I think, all around an unfortunate situation, but it is not a situation that just dropped out of this the blue sky as if it's happened in a vacuum. So
could I say something?
I hear you. Well, you can say, of course, this is an open show, but I am just saying that I don't want to get into the specifics of any individual situation, because those are matters you discuss in private, not on the airwaves. But go ahead, say what it is you have to say.
Well, that's the reason. That's the reason why I'm asking for a meeting. I'm not aware that there was a meeting with all parties concerned.
Well, I don't know about all parties. You said there's an effort to meet with me, and I am telling you that I have been engaged.
Yeah, Mr. Brantley,
so,
listen to me. What I said to you just a while ago is that I'm pleading with you, I'm begging with you for a meeting with all parties concerned. The decision was made one-sidedly. The young man has not been given an opportunity.
All right. I heard you.
To defend himself.
I have heard you. I understand what you're saying. I was just saying, because initially you said that the chap has been trying to meet with me. He's been trying to meet with Minister Jeffers, and you're asking me to give him a few minutes. I was just correcting that, because I don't want it to be left out there as if I have been unavailable, because that is not accurate. Every Thursday, for example, I have an open day, and whoever comes through that door, I meet with. Last week, I met with 23 people on my Thursday session.
Yeah, Mr.
So
Bradley,
I don't want that to be said.
Whereas all that might be true, my call here tonight is for us to make an effort to convene a meeting with all parties concerned.
Well, you have now added the all parties, and I accept that. I'm just, as I said, I was trying to correct the suggestion. Maybe it wasn't intentional that I have not been available, because that is not accurate. Because I know I have been engaged.
Well, I'm aware that you have been, and I said that much. I said that I know that he is. Well, maybe not me, but at least been in communication.
Absolutely.
And he has been in communication with the Honorable Vance Emery when he was in charge, and he has been in communication with the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, and it hasn't borne any fruit.
All right. Well, as I said to you, you're probably dealing with outdated information. So let me leave that there.
I'm not dealing with outdated information.
Well, all right.
I'm dealing with information as late as yesterday, Mr. Brown.
Well, I don't know. Somebody is misleading you, because
Mr. Brantley,
yes.
Mr. Brantley, hear me, please. I am dealing with information as far as late as yesterday.
Well, I tell you,
and some of the things, that I'm hearing, is not good.
Okay.
And so that is the reason why I'm trying to get you to get all as the man in charge. You said the buck stopped with you. As the man in charge, I would like you to spear us.
Okay, caller. You've said that about 10 times already, caller. I've heard you each of the 10 times. So let's leave that there now. Okay.
I've not had an answer from you, Mr. Brown.
Well, you can't have an answer from me tonight. What kind of answer you expect me to get?
I don't expect an answer. But all I need is as you so correctly say, a commitment that you're going to try and organize something. I mean, I know that you're a busy man. And
all right, so I will deal with that, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Sir.
It is 1:15 the hour. Caller, just so that you know, I don't know what information you're being given, but that is what concerns me. You see, because I'm always concerned when it appears that there are a lot of chefs in the kitchen. The problem exists, I'm aware of the problem. In fact, I have made a commitment that I will address the problem, and that commitment was made to the relevant people affected. So I am a little concerned about the impression that is being created this evening. But as I said, individual matters are not something that I feel ought to be discussed on the air, because we could say a lot of things on the air. And other people can call in, I'm sure, no doubt, and say a lot of other things. And so let us leave that there and leave those matters for the right forum for them to be discussed. Simple as that. And all I was seeking to do throughout this is just to ensure that the public has the correct information, that there's been no resiling or running away from seeking to either resolve this issue or to engage with those parties that are affected, because that engagement is ongoing. Pretty sure if I were to check my phone right now, I have a series of communications back and forth and an indication from me as a premier and as the man you say the buck stops with in terms of what should happen. And so that is an issue that has been ongoing, and I want to make that very, very clear. Let's go back to the phones and take some calls. We have 16 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, my beloved brother.
Good evening to you.
How are you and your family,
I am well, thank
beloved?
you. I am well. Trust you are also.
Yes, I'm good. I'm great, beloved. All praises and thanks to the Creator. Now, my beloved brother, as the Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, my beloved brother, don't nationals, right, in CARICOM community, well, they don't have any criminal record, don't they get an automatic 6 months? Then they visit each other country? Like say somebody coming from Guyana to Antigua. What is the requirement?
Yes, as far as I know, they get an automatic 6 months.
But because my fiancé, my beloved brother, from Guyana, I'm in the Caribbean right now, beloved, and come to Antigua, meet here, beloved brother, and the amount of problems they gave that young lady.
They gave her where? In St. Kitts Nevis?
Antigua, no.
Oh, in Antigua, okay.
Antigua, beloved brother. Problem, like she was some common criminal. I mean, eventually they gave her 6 months. Asked her where she going, and even thinking went inside and make sure she said where she was going. But and she had money, more than enough money. We are not even spending 2 weeks here in Antigua, my beloved brother. So, brother, I am all for CARICOM, man, but this nonsense must stop. If it's going to be that free movement, automatic 6 months, well, you're a criminal, they can accuse you of that. But I don't see why the harassment, and it seems that it's two nationalities they target most in CARICOM. Nationals of Jamaica and nationals of Guyana, brother. I am telling you, especially in places like Barbados is the worst. You know that too, beloved brother. Look how, remember the Mary case? The sister ended up in our case, and several and numerous occasions. Barbados is the worst. Then come Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas. I don't know, and look like Antigua is following them, beloved brother. Come on, man, this nonsense must stop, beloved brother. It's either we're going to live in unity, in harmony, as African people, otherwise, beloved brother, just smash up CARICOM, and then let each individual country got the immigration policies, beloved brother. Ain't no sense to signing all these treaties and convention and going to this, and you say, oh, this, that, and come, and certain nationalities in CARICOM, you give them a very, very hard time, beloved brother. That's not right. I'm calling on you, beloved brother, to be, very vigilant. I know you're a visionary, brother, and you speak your mind, beloved brother. And you get the chance, beloved brother. I know you are meeting July of each year and other things. Brother, I am calling on you to bring up this issue. And others, not just you alone, but there was where I was born, beloved brother. And
hello? It looks like we've lost that caller. It's 20 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Caller, please call back in. Let's go back to the lines. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening.
Yes, I'd like to first congratulate whoever is responsible for bringing in Steel Pulse on Third World for the independence celebrations. That was an excellent choice.
I hope you're coming over so I could finally meet you.
Oh, that can be arranged.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
We're hoping everybody would come and really enjoy something
Yes,
conscious.
I'm sure.
Yes.
But it was an excellent choice. A change from the usual controversial artists. We can be sure of some uplifting and conscious music. I know my generation will certainly appreciate it, and I hope the younger folks will too. Congratulations too on attracting that new flight. I would imagine the further north we go, the more successful those flights will be around that time of the year. So kudos to Greg and whoever else is responsible. And that's what I was talking about last week, right? You have every right to beat your chest and take credit for what you have done, but give credit where credit is due and don't try to claim it when you know that you are not responsible. That's dishonest. For me personally, maybe I'm a hard taskmaster, but I refuse to be impressed by things like roads and pier and house and land and those kinds of things, those mundane things. These are things that any decent, self-respecting government in this day and age should be providing for its citizens. I'm more concerned with the atmosphere in the country, the interaction between our peoples, how we govern ourselves and prepare for the next generation. Those are my pet peeves. I think the government, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, are falling short in that respect. They are too focused on the next election, not the next generation. But that's just me. You didn't answer two of my questions from last time. The one regarding the Integrity Commission, because it's all well and good to activate it, but we want to know that it's functioning, budget and all. And I wish you had given the Prime Minister down here some advice, because he really made a mess of his appointment. Okay, he botched it, and while you're at it, try to get him to be more statesmanlike and be more inclusive and cooperate with the opposition on the crime fighting. I'm sure you saw the release by the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. It seems like everybody except the Prime Minister feel that it should be a collective approach. The other question that you didn't answer was the constitutional one. After 35 years of independence, don't you think it's time for a review and renewal of the Constitution? Or do you think that everything is hunky-dory insofar as that is concerned? Okay? And also, don't you think it's time that you fight a bit harder to attract another hotel or another industry to Nevis? Can the government and Four Seasons alone take on, the employment of Nevis, right? If it's to grow and develop, don't you think you need more Four Seasons or more industries, more something else? Otherwise, it may just stagnate. Those are basically my questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller. Dealing with your last question first. Absolutely, we're trying and we continue to try to attract development. I am not as focused as other people seem to be on hotels, because I think that there's only one aspect to an economy. Matter of fact, whilst I would love to have another hotel or two on the island of Nevis, I am just as keen to have other businesses developed here. And as you know, I'm a great proponent of geothermal energy, because I think that more than anything else will allow us a level of diversification that would be unprecedented in the region. Having said that, I believe that it would be incorrect to leave anybody with the impression that the employment situation in Nevis is only dictated by Four Seasons and the government, because the last time I checked, we had nearly 5,000 people employed on the island of Nevis, according to Social Security. Four Seasons, as far as I know, employs in the region of 700 people, and the government employs, I think, about 1,000 people. So it really means that others, including the private sector, are responsible for the bulk of the people that are employed on the island of Nevis. That is not to minimize the importance of Four Seasons or the government in terms of the employment, but I think it would be it would be unwise to leave anybody with the impression that those were some of the only 2 employers in the island of Nevis, because the statistics do not bear that out. So I just wanted to correct that. I am of a view, and my cabinet I think is of a view, that we ought to build out an economy which is sustainable. I am not in any race with anybody. I know sometimes you hear a lot of noise being made. You look around the region, you hear a lot of noise being made sometimes, announcement after announcement being made. I am not in that. I have said to the team that we will do things decently and in order. When we have a bird in the hand and we could feel it and touch it, that is when we will make noise about the bird, and that is the approach that we've taken. And so whilst we are working on many things, we have not been quick to run and to make announcements in advance of having things in place. So I just wanted to make that clear. Insofar as constitutional reform is concerned, I believe that constitutional reform ought to be an ongoing process. A constitution is a living, breathing instrument that ought to reflect the nuances and the changes that can occur in any society. Our democracy in various areas has been tested, and so constitutional reform and tweaking what we have and trying to make it better. Fundamental questions, for example, should we have the CCJ as our final court of appeal rather than the Privy Council in England? Those are questions that ultimately we will have to confront. How does one treat with Her Majesty as head of state? Those are questions that ultimately we will have to confront. So all of these are issues. How do we deal with the government and how the government is established? Is the first past the post system the best system, which means that you could have a government which really does not reflect those who got a majority vote. We've had that time and time again. Is that the best way? So these are all important questions which I think as we mature and as we develop. But I believe that constitutional reform ought to be an ongoing process. In some countries you have a constitutional review committee which is always in place because they look at the constitution from time to time. We have a unique situation in St. Kitts and Nevis, my friend, because I have, before I even entered politics, been on forums where those who support the Labour Party have bashed this constitution, say it's flawed, it is wrong, there are all kinds of problems with it. But you know what? For 20 years, Labour was in power and it never changed so much as a comma. So if a document is so flawed, so wrong, so bad, and you've had 20 years in government and you didn't even change a comma in that document, it tells me that you're not serious and that the document was not nearly as flawed or as bad as you purported. And so I have learned to shut out the noise and focus on the substance. And the substance tells me that we ought to have a mechanism for ongoing review and reform if necessary as we develop as a society. Integrity in public life, I agree with you, that it needs to be operationalized fully with its budget, its office and all of that. But these things take time, and these are things that you put in place. What has happened is you pass the legislation, you then put in place the commission then will seek to develop its budget, say to the government this is what we need to function, etc. The budget, the funds have to be allocated, and we get going. So it's a process, and the process is well and truly in train, and so I have no difficulty at all. And I am proud of the unity government and my own government in Nevis for the efforts we have made in that regard, because others were saying that there was no need for integrity in public life. I have heard politicians in this island of Nevis say that if you have integrity, you have it, and so you don't need any legislation. We took a different view, that we need the legislation because the legislation creates a framework for check and balance and ensures that government is transparent. It's not a question of one's personal integrity. We hope all of us have that. But there needs to be a framework in place so that the populace out there can have greater confidence in the governance structure of the country. So I hope now that I've answered the various questions that you've posed. And as I say, I don't know you. You're calling every week, and you and I have some interesting discussions sometimes. Perhaps you can come to the concert and we can engage. You did say that you wanted to commend those of us, and I just want to say to you that the Concerned Citizens Movement is a wholesome party. We've always been. We've always on every occasion taken the high road, and that is why we have the quality of entertainment that we bring is to uplift and bring people together. That is why I know the churches are going to come out, the Christians are going to come out, because they all want to hear Steel Pulse sing, chant a psalm a day. And all of us indeed should be doing that, including you, my friend. Let's go to the phones. 9:30, we're taking your calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Early man go for any class at 20 years a day. I'll be just a 3.5. So long go for any class, man.
All right, thank you for that. We're taking your calls at 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Just again to remind everyone that on Tuesday the 11th, we'll be having a memorial service for the man called Crib, Mr. Levine, who has passed away in the United States. He's from Brownhill, the mayor of Brownhill, and we will have that service organized by the Brownhill Management Group at the Hard Court in Brownhill on Tuesday, the 11th of September from 5:30 until 7:30. One and all invited to come and just pay their respects, pay a tribute, say something for a man who really did a lot for a lot of people. Just to remind you as well that on the 16th of September, Sunday the 16th at 9 p.m., we will be having a grand concert, National Heroes concert, at the Cultural Village in Nevis. We are hoping that the whole of St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Martin, everybody will come out for this significant event. It's a free concert. We'll have Third World and Steel Pulse on the same stage, supported by De Jour from St. Kitts, Byron Messiah from St. Kitts. Sugar Bowl will be hosting the event. Also from St. Kitts, we have DJ Woodis will be providing the entertainment. We also, of course, have from Nevis the man they call Speedy, the man called Deli Ranks, and the man called Ripper HD. They will all be on display, bringing something conscious, bringing something to bring us together. It is all about togetherness. One love, one Nevis, one federation, one love. That is what we are seeking to do. So we are inviting one and all to come out and to be a part of this very important conference. I'm just reminded as well that the Minister of Culture, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, will be holding a press conference tomorrow at the Cultural Village, commencing at 9:30, and he's inviting one and all to come out. He'll be doing a post-mortem on our Culturama 44 celebrations and also presenting the financials for that. Minister Evelyn would have done it before, but regrettably the timing was not quite right, and so he will be doing it tomorrow, and we are asking you to go out and be a part of that, and members of the press are certainly invited to be a part of his very first press conference in his capacity as Minister of Culture for the island of Nevis. So we're taking your calls on 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Just a note, please, if you're coming to the concert, the National Heroes Day concert on the 16th of September, we're asking you to wear national colors and to show your patriotism. Bring your flag, your St. Kitts Nevis flag, and let us have 10,000 people there together in a massive show of patriotism. Vendors, we're hoping you'll come out and make $1 for that night. The entrance fee is free. F-R-E-E. They say if it's free, take two. So if you can enter twice, that will mean that you get in twice for free. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you, brother.
Yes, sir. I listened to a program a few weeks ago on freedom. And when someone who wasn't there spoke and mentioned that, well, the Nevis Island government and with PAM and Labour or whatever is the same, I was very shocked. Because when we have, all right, you are the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and when you look around the outer world, as we call it, England, Canada, and the United States, and we see people in position that they are at presently and before, when Nevisians as a whole were looked onto as second-class citizens to think it. And when a Nevisian going to mention, well, you know, things were the same, nothing changed, I was very shocked. And it was a lie. Because we Nibijans now look at themselves as equal with the people of St. Kitts because of the position that we hold and what's going on within both islands. So I'm calling in to correct that person who was on Freedom spewing lies because it's not the same. So I just wanted to call, I called before and I'm just calling in to let that person know it was, he was spewing lies on Freedom.
Well, but, okay, well, thank you very much for your contribution, my brother, but let's accept, because we must. We live in a democracy, and people will say almost anything. Rain will be falling hard outside, and man tell you the sun shining bright, right? Dark night outside, they tell you it is bright daylight. That is the nature of our people, and I know the caller because I recognize the voice. You live in the great United States of America, and some of the things, if you turn on Fox News and they're reporting on a story, and you switch over to CNN, reporting on the same story, you need to figure out, well, who's telling the truth and who's telling a lie. But I've always said that the people of our country, and let me specify Nevis because here's where I am. I've gone out time and time again to the electorate. I have done more elections than most. I tell people I did a by-election in 2007. I did a federal election in 2010. I did a null and void election in 2011. I did a court case. I came back, did a full election in 2013. I did one in 2015. I did one in 2017. That's 6 elections in the space of 2007 until 2011 years. 6 elections. Some fellas, I hear fellas say, oh, I've been in Parliament for 25 years. But in those 25 years, I've only done 5 elections. I've done 6 and 11. So I know about elections. And I talk to people, I go to their homes, I sit on their steps, I talk to them, and you know what I've come to the realization? Nevis people are some of the smartest people in the world. It's not easy to fool them. So a lot of us go on radio, we go and we pontificate, and we say, how kind of stupidness? But you know, we got something here in Nevis we call strips. When you hear the lady out there washing she clothes and she hears somebody and she just say, strip she mouth. That means you could fool Surely, but you can't fool Panko. So a lot of them talk because they could talk. You hear the thing in freedom, they have the freedom to speak. But it doesn't mean that what they're saying is resonating, because there are a lot of people who would be benefiting from a situation and they say the situation is bad. Yeah, that's how it works. But they're not fooling anybody. They're not fooling anybody, and that is why I don't even worry. I have learned a long time ago, Carla, that if you kick at every barking dog, you will never get up the hill. So sometimes you hear them bark, just leave them. You call that Buster. Just leave Buster. You don't have to worry yourself about that. And so I hear sometimes, and you just hear, goes in one ear, come out the next. So I told somebody the other day, it's not everything we must repeat. So you just ignore that. You know, put that in the out of order bundle. Let's go back to the phones. Take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night to the Honorable Mark.
Good night to you.
Oh, good night. Good night to the Honorable Premier, Mark Bandley. Now, good night, Mark. Let me tell you something, right? First, I want to congratulate the St. Kitts Nevis Patriot. I think all the day playing so well that they make us proud still. And they're going on to the semi-final. And I hope they reach there, because this is where we want anybody representing St. Kitts Nevis. We want them to keep the country on a high, because not because maybe a Nivijan in the team, a Kitishan might be in the team, but a Kitishan in the team. This team named St. Kitts Nevis. And when that name go out there and they spread around the world that St. Kitts Nevis win that CPL Cup, you know, it benefits all of us here in the island.
Sure.
Yes. So, Mark, you see, I can tell you, right, I listened to your opening statement and everything, and you are so right. With people don't want to be patriot to the country, as you say. Some people just criticize, but criticize sake, and say all manner of things about the government, the unity government. But Mark, you all got to keep focused. And we can't be led by the people who want to come and distract. Because that is where they do. I was in the park last night, Mark. And a young man, you know, he was here about 5 women. And mostly 4 other guys. And he did telling me nothing happened. Nothing happened, politics, nothing happened in the unity. But she still by the bar, buying all those drinks for them people. I said, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. I said, look, you're buying drinks, look, and he come and give me a hug, like politics or something else. He come and he hug me. You understand? So that could show that something is happening, and they're just joking when they're saying all these things. And I hear you invite people over to the consort where you're going, the consort where you're going to. But remember that a lot of people don't hear that talk and feel like they think they don't support nothing. Some people don't support nothing. You hear them on the radio come on every day. They cheap, some of them cheap. Mark, they don't support nothing. They don't contribute to nothing in school, nothing at all. You understand? But they want to be patriot to the country to tell people what to do, tell government what to do, say this and say that, criticize this and criticize that. But under the farmer administration, nothing like that. Come out, can't do it for 20 years. 20 years. And none of them talking come up about constitution, nothing and whatever. But all at once now, the constitution, this and that, this. Listen now, the gentleman, he got some good, he does some good things. But sometimes he turns the good things into political things. And anybody love the country and want to see the country move on. You don't come with the country all negative things about your country. And you try to support your country like you could support it anyway. But some, as I tell you, that you will never see him come out with a steel pulse on a show. Because those are people who don't support nothing at all.
So you mean you don't want to pay the boat?
Eh?
You don't want to pay the boat?
Well, you got to pay the boat when you come over there.
But the consort free?
Well, the consort, well, you got to pay the boat to tell you. Don't support
No,
nothing.
man, I don't believe you. I believe you're going to come.
No, man, he ain't going to come.
He ain't going to come?
If he don't support nothing, if they don't support nothing, they think they can come over, they can support anything. They don't absolutely support nothing here. Those are people who just come and sit down and have a nice eat. I sure maybe if you went to the park, you get a complimentary ticket. I went for 3 nights, and the 3 nights I went, I make sure that I went to the thing and buy my ticket. You understand? Because I want to see the country move on. Let somebody who can afford to go buy a ticket, let them get a complimentary ticket. I'm a hard-working guy, and I'm going to try to get a ticket for myself. You understand?
All right, brother.
All right, you have a wonderful
yes,
night.
man. Thank you very much for that. But you're trying some hard punches tonight. It is 16 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock. We have 16 minutes more when you can call in and make your contribution. And we, of course, will be delighted to hear from you. Let's go to the phones and take this call. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Premier.
Good evening to you.
I wanted to give Honorable Alexis Dreyfus a message for me, please.
What happened? You can't find him?
No, very hard to find.
Not so hard to find, man.
Okay.
But go ahead, I'm listening.
I need him to put some lights in the Potworks area. It's very dark, and we have a lot of students walking there at night. I already told him, and nothing has been done, so I want you to tell him.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night.
Okay, thank you. But Minister Jeffers is no longer responsible for Neblek. I am. So really and truly, your message should be delivered to me. So I've got the message, and I thank you for that. And we have had some requests for lights, but what has happened is that we are in the process now of working on a CDB project to change out all the lights from what they are to LED lights. That project one is on and off, and we keep getting sort of inaccurate information as to when exactly it's going to happen. So we've been in a holding pattern in terms of buying more of the old lights because we don't want to spend the money, and then of course the CDB project comes on stream. But having said that, I have spoken to Nevlec already about lights generally, not specifically for your Potworks area, but generally, and what more we need to do. So we will get there. We will get there. Thank you. Let's go back to the phones and get some more calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
I would like to say advance the greetings to Pretty in church ground,
Mhm.
coming from her favorite friend, Sandy. Wishing all the best tomorrow.
You're the favorite friend? Boy, I tell you, I feel jealous now.
So wishing her all the best. And thanks for everything.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Hope you had fun, you know.
Of course I do.
Okay, my dear. All right.
Okay.
My friend, see if you can find Chant a Psalm from Steel Pulse. I don't know if you have it, but if you have it, see if you can find it so we can play something, because I would want everybody to get a sense of the quality that we're talking about. Let's go back to the phones and take a call in the meantime. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Premier.
Yes, good evening to you.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah, I would like to congratulate our new deputy governor.
You think it's a good choice?
Yes, and her acceptance speech was very nice. Your speech was good, and our Prime Minister, hey, he was looking so relaxed. Eh? You notice him?
Yes, man, of course he was relaxed.
He must feel good when he knew it, eh?
Well, of course.
He was so relaxed to deliver his speech.
Neve is nice, yeah?
He said all the right things. Your speech was excellent. The lady, those three speeches I enjoyed. But the Prime Minister was looking at, he was looking so relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he feels different when he's in Navy. Nice. He's half Navision.
Yes.
But I think the lady, she's a very, very well-deserved choice. And I think I don't know, because, as you know, I wasn't living here for a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
But she looked like she is ready to act the part, and she's going to be okay. That's as far as I see.
Good. Excellent.
Good night.
Thank you very much for that. All right, we have somebody on the line? Okay. Let's hear this song, one of the songs, the big hits from Steel Pulse. And while we're listening to this song, could we also look for Third World, see if you have it, Now That We Found Love?
Attract these angels
Chant a Summer Day. Chant a Summer Day. That was Steel Pulse. Here is to Get Behind Me, Satan. Chant a Summer Day. Let's now hear Third World, Now That We Found Love. It's one of my favorite Third World songs. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a sample. We gave you Steel Pulse, Chant of Summer Day, and Third World, Now That We Found Love. It's going to be a wonderful event on September 16th at the Cultural Village, 9 p.m. Steel Pulse, Third World on the same stage for free. Free concert, our way of saying thank you to the people of Nevis, our way of saying thank you to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, our way of saying let us come together. One Nevis, one federation, one love. Show your patriotism, wear your colors, your national colors. Come in. We're expecting 10,000 people, the largest crowd we'd have ever seen in St. Kitts and Nevis at any one event. 10,000 people. If 9,999 reach, I'm going to be disappointed. So please don't disappoint me. Come on out. We have really put on a massive show here for you. We have Deli Ranks, we have Ripper HD, we have Speedy, we have Dijon, and of course we have the youngster Byron Messiah. And we're inviting one and all to come out and be a part of this super concert on September 16th at 9 p.m. at the Cultural Village in Nevis. We are dubbing it the National Heroes Concert. And so we want everybody to come together in oneness, in unity, in love. We say bring your best behavior. We're inviting the vendors to come out. Vendors, please contact Abernathy, Liebert, those who have had the booths, because we would want everybody open, and hopefully with the number of people we expect to come and make $1. So we look forward to that concert. We look forward to the conscious music, the coming together, the rejuvenation, if you will, of our love for each other. And we trust and hope that the entire community will be a part of this. The boats will be running to bring people over from St. Kitts, and we look forward to the planes as well flying to bring people from the neighboring islands. Already we're hearing many are coming from Anguilla. We look forward to seeing those from St. Martin and Antigua and the surrounding islands as well. Steel Pulse, Third World, one stage, one night in a grand concert in Nevis, September 16th at the Nevis Cultural Village, or a brand new facility there. They'll take the stage, and Steel Pulse is coming specifically to pay tribute to their fallen drummer, Steve Grizzly Nisbet, the man who was from Brickhill in Nevis and went to England and became the drummer for Steel Pulse from 1977 until 2001, the period when they were at the height of their popularity. So we want one and all to come out. In a way, Steel Pulse is part of us, because the Nivision was part of that band for so long. And so many people don't know that, but that is the reason why they want to be right here in Little Nevis to pay tribute to Grizzly Nisbet, who regrettably passed away in January this year. So we're asking one and all to come out and be a part of that. And as I end the show this evening, I continue to encourage one and all to come on Tuesday, September 11th at the Brownhill Hard Court for a tribute to Euclid Cribb Levine, the man that we all knew and loved and who did so much for so many. We're asking people to come out at 5:30 in the afternoon to pay tribute to the man we know as Cribb, and to comfort the family and comfort each other, because we all miss him and miss him dearly. That's our show for the evening. I want to thank all the callers who called in. I want to thank those who debated, those who had a view and brought the view here. The 2 hours flew by very quickly, but we thank you. It is a good time to be alive. We wish you a wonderful night's rest, and God's continuous grace and mercy may it be upon us all. Good night, and God bless you.